Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Monday, the 28th day of November, 2022. Well, I hope everybody who celebrates had a wonderful Thanksgiving. My husband made probably the best meatloaf he's ever made. We were going to go to our youngest sons, but everybody was sick and just decided to postpone that. Until everybody feels better. So I still have the turkey and everything. So we were going to bring that and a few other things. And so anyway, we just spent a quiet day. We woke up to snow this morning, and I think it's probably going to stay for a while. Maybe not. But I know I looked at the forecast, and it looks like we're going to have snow periodically for the next few days. Maybe till Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know. But anyhow, let's see, I think I can put my keyboard away over here, so I've got some room to work with. I wanted to go over the esoteric influences. I've been calling it the daily forecast on the blog. I've been putting up each day separately as opposed to, one post with all of them. WordPress seems to like it. It always comes back every day. Oh, you've got this streak. You've posted for 30 days in a row. I'm like, well, yeah, okay. I post a lot, so you didn't notice the other ones. I mean, anyway. But anyhow, let's take a look at today. The influences other than astrological and human design would be 28 reduces to 1. So a 1 numerology, Isa, the Norn rune of the static realm or present moment, and Caput Draconis, new beginnings. And so there's new beginnings with the number 1 and getting a concentrated focus and all of that with Isa, freezing unwanted behavior, that kind of thing. So anyhow, then I take a look at what the moon information is for the day. I tend to include just the transits or placement in the chart for the governing planet for each day. So Monday would be the moon, Tuesday would be Mars, Wednesday's Jupiter, or rather Mercury, Thursday's Jupiter, that kind of stuff. And so I'll take stuff from there and incorporate into this. But today you may need a new approach to how you view your finances, especially if you approach money management in an impulsive way. If you derive emotional sustenance from acquiring possessions, because let's face it, sometimes that happens, you may find that to be fleeting at best, because then the money's not there when you need it, right? You may discover that a more rational, focused view of your financial security is needed so that your emotions don't impact your ability to see the overall picture, just as we get out of Black Friday and Cyber Monday here. So seek input from a partner or a trusted advisor so that you make adjustments that are truly beneficial to you. This is not the time to ignore advice that may be uncomfortable to hear. Instead, a little humility may get you back on track. And from the table of favorability, we know on the 28th, the favorability for work and magic on Monday is very bad. It starts on the 24th. Let's see if I have that here. Maybe really handy. Oh, where is it? I know there we go. The 24th, the 25th, the 28th, 29th, and 30th are all considered very bad for magic. But, you do what you do. If you do practice something today, you do a working today. It includes with the moon governance. It includes feminine magics, healing, intuition, cycles, reincarnation, astral travel, balance, and invoking change. The lunar phase is waxing right now, so magics of increase are favored if you do something. And the moon is in its crescent phase, where self-assertion is strong and you're ready to embrace challenges. And again, with today's daily forecast, if you're having a little issue with emotional spending, it's like emotional eating, that can be a problem. I did want to mention, though, before we get started on the reading, tomorrow's daily forecast, it's the 29th of November, so that gives us an 11 numerology. That's a master number. The 22 year is also a master number. So you have an 11 for the month, 11 numerology for the day, and then 20, which you reduce to 2, which is balance, with bringing enlightenment and awakening and all of that into alignment with the cosmic builder energy of the 22. So profound change. So enlightenment and awareness and all of that brings about profound change. I was going to do a little bit of a rant on the whole idea of the woke business, which is nonsense, because the opposite of woke is asleep. I mean, come on. It just amazes me how some folks will get into that mode where they want to deride things that actually are good. And it just, I don't understand it. But tomorrow you're going to see that, you're going to see that energy. It's almost like they call it a portal. I don't know. I'm not particularly comfortable with that phrase, that phraseology, if you will, of it being a portal to something. But in a sense, it kind of is, because you've got this really intense energy, like repeated number energy, like the Lion's Gate, in August, 8, and then if you can get an 8 for the year, that's it's inner strength, it's awakening to inner strength and all of that. But I wanted to just go ahead and say about tomorrow. 11 is the number. Nathis is the runes. Again, another Norn rune for inner friction, inner will. It's the Norn rune of the future. So again, we're manifesting things. Rubeus, though, is the geomancy rune for tomorrow, and that's a little bit of it's passion, it's fiery, it's the adult version of poor, but a little more they ought to know better kind of thing. Poor is a little boy and they don't know any better. But when you get to Rubeus, they do, and it's usually intentional. And I usually look at Rubeus as a misuse of force, either of you're doing it or someone else, you're experiencing it from someone else. And so I wanted to just say what tomorrow's is. So Tuesday's 11/11, 2022 influence allows you to awaken to the idea that a misuse of force has been impacting your life, either from someone else or from your own behavior. This is the influence of the geomancy rune Rubeus on your awareness, which suggests passion or control run amok. And although it will take a focused expression of inner will, which is reflective of Nathis, you now have the opportunity to manifest a new direction. Remember, 11/11/22, that allows you to stand up against someone who is controlling, or to let go of the same destructive influence in yourself so that you affect positive change in your life. It's easy to feel isolated when you're involved with someone who disrespects you in such a profound way, or conversely, the other way around. However, you may also come to realize that as you stand up to the bully in the room, others may begin to support you so that they too can become empowered to do the same. And if this applies to how you interact with others, you have the opportunity to make some changes that can dramatically improve those interactions. And again, the favorability tomorrow for work and magic's very bad. But again, with the crescent moon, the self-assertion is strong and you embrace challenges. So I think that some self-reflection over the course of the week is probably in order. So anyhow, I just wanted to do both of them because I thought Tuesdays was kind of specific enough that maybe it might be a good thing to talk about. So anyhow, let's go ahead and pull today's rune out of the rune bag, my rune bag. I've changed how I usually make these same kinds of drawstring bags for my tarot cards, only now I'm going to show you what I've been doing. I've been making little tarot bags that aren't like that. They're different. I'll show you. We have Othala, which we had. Didn't we have Othala last week? Again, this is tradition. It's legacy. It's possessions. It's the Akashic record of our lives. But something to do with it's also protection and family, inheritance. But it's the last rune of the Elder Futhark, so you're bringing it all together. And basically it's comprised by Inguz and Gebo. And within all of that is Kinez, the light or the torch, the light of spirit or the torch. And again, with tomorrow being an 11 day, we're an 11 month, we're in a 22 year. You've got some ability there to employ Kinez both inward and outward. Both how you see things and then how you express that vision to other people. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so it looks like we have acquisitio, which is gain. So there's something about what you gain from being aware. No, that's a missio, the opposite of what you gain from being aware of tradition and loyalty and structure and legacy and all of that, family, community in your life. What you gain from that. This would be acquisitio or gain. Its complement would be emissio or loss. This can be looked at in terms of increase or decrease, not specifically gain, but where something increases or something decreases. You can also look at it that way. But right now, I think that we look at how we gain by being aware of the legacy that we leave for others. That seems to me what's coming into my head. Anyway, this is the bag I made. I already shuffled, and then I put them back in here so I can show you. But it's, it has the side panels, and I did a little, design here, and all it does is it just tucks in, and so I have it long enough, that it will go clear down in there, and so it just tucks in, and then they sit better. I've done a bunch of them because it doesn't take me that long. It just takes me a few hours to do one, and I like using the cotton yarn, the cotton thread type yarn, not the kind you use for doilies. It's bigger, but it's really fun. In fact, that's what I used for this poncho here, was the same type of yarn. In fact, no, it's a different color. Well, anyway, I just love this kind of stuff to work with. It's very cool. But anyway, I wanted to show you that, my latest little thing. I don't use a pattern. I just know what I want to have, and I made a couple different prototypes, and then I finally figured out how I wanted to do it. So the first couple ones were a little bit different, but I think this is a little bit better. But sometimes it takes doing something a few times. Plus, the nice part about it is I have different size cards. I've got 2 sizes for the Thoth Tarot. One's a small size like this is, the ones I use here, and then there's the bigger ones. Druidcraft's the same, they're bigger. So I can just actually make it whatever size I want to. But for the most part, I'll use the same one for each deal. And I used, the type of cotton yarn I used was baby yarn. Well, the baby cloth or cotton yarn. It's a 3 weight instead of a 4 weight. And the 4 is just really heavy. I'm using that right now to make a basket. And it's kind of hard to work with because it doesn't have a lot of give, whereas other kinds of worsted weight yarn does, the normal kind of yarn does, and it has give to it, and you just this takes me forever, and I don't even have the basket bottom done yet. It was just killing my hands to do it last night. So anyway. Oh, well, okay. So on this, 11/1/22 day, and also for tomorrow, we have 3. We have 3 cards from the major arcana: the Magician, the Tower, and Strength. So we have, let's see, 16. That's a 7. So 8, and 8 is 16, and so that would come down to 7. 7 is about balance. It's about observation. It's about witchcraft, spirituality, divinity, legal issues. Let's see, did I do that right? 16, 17. So 16, 1 and 6 is 7, plus 1 is 8, and 8 is 16, and 6 and 1 is 7. So yes, I did it right. You get to my age and you need a calculator. You can't just do things in your head anymore. But anyway, there's some transformation with the Tower, also with the Magician, and inner transformation with Strength. And in this 11 month of new beginnings, with today being a 1 energy there on the 28th, how we manifest, the 22 year could have to do with the Magician. Here we see the Magician standing in an as above, so below stance. He's holding a scroll or a wand. It doesn't really look like the wand you see here, though, because here's the wand on his table there. All 4 elements are represented. Fire would be the wand, pentacles would be earth, cups would be water, and the sword would be air. You see the lemniscate or the figure eight above his head, signaling cycles. You see the roses up above and below, bringing purity with the lilies. So drawing in higher awareness into your manifestations. But we're talking about the development of will here, and the alchemical balance, if you will. And I think that we're balancing the transformation here, the manifestation that transforms, perhaps transforming the inner strength within, maybe. It's life force, it's inspiration, manifestation. But basically, how are you constructing your life? How are you constructing your world? How are you constructing your perceptions? Is it coming from higher awareness, or is it coming strictly from ego? Where you can appreciate the wokeness, if you want to call it that, or the awakening that we all need to have on a daily basis, right? Awaken to new truth, awaken to greater understanding, awaken to tolerance, awaken to love, awaken to compassion, for others. Or can you just simply not be bothered, and it's all about you in life. To me, that just seems like a really lonely way to be, but, for them, I guess it works. I don't know. We all come into this life with a theme and a lesson, overall idea of what we want to focus on. And some are going to choose a service to self approach to things and a mindset that reflects that. Some are going to be service to self, right, instead of service to others. And the problem is if you can't see that you're part of a greater experience, a greater collective consciousness, then that's going to be, it may serve you well in your life to a certain extent, but there's this big chunk that you're missing. And maybe that's what the soul wanted to come into life to experience. And so, it's that balance that we all have, really, between, and we fight that even within ourselves, where we're balancing between thinking about what we need and thinking about what the family needs, for example. And one's going to win out, and there'll be a lesson to be learned from whatever wins out, right? Well, that's, I think, what the in terms of the development of will with the magician, that's really kind of what that's talking about. How are you going to manifest that will, the fire element within? How do you do that? And tomorrow we have Isa today as the rune from the daily forecast, and then tomorrow we have Nathiz. So we're talking about Norn energy, which is a higher awareness energy, getting us to concentrate, getting us to focus, getting us to understand living in the present moment. So then tomorrow with Isa, so that tomorrow we can manifest something, the friction within, to manifest something new with Nathiz. And is it going to be transformative, maybe? Now, this reflects balance. It reflects a 7 energy. 16 reduces to 7. The Tower is an interesting card. It's about disruption. It's about catalytic change. It's also a positive transformation. It's letting go. A lot of different things, a lot of different ways to transform your awareness. But here we have the lightning coming in and blowing the lid off the tower. Basically, blowing the lid off everything. Causing some fire to cleanse. Fire is very cleansing. You see all kinds of stuff coming down, the smoke coming from the fires, both people coming down. And here you have the receptive presence, and here you have the masculine presence, I would think, because you're talking about the red color here, which be fire. And that would be a masculine type of experience, whereas the blue would be water, and that would be the feminine. So receptive versus projective. So you're trying to achieve with this transformation of the tower, you're just getting rid of everything that doesn't serve you anymore, all the perceptions that guide you to a place that didn't get you anywhere, judgment that maybe you're not seeing the situation right, you're reading into something maybe that there's nothing to read into. My husband and I were just having a conversation about how hard it is to understand the emotions. I mean, sometimes it's not. People who text you convey that when they text. They convey the sense of emotion. You get that. But with others, it's not. It's very clinical. And so sometimes you read into things that aren't there uh, because you're responding to it emotionally, right? And so with the tower, you just sort of blow the lid off of all of that and let go of things that no longer serve, like living in this tower maybe no longer serve. See, we don't know that they died. We don't know that. All we know is that they are falling into something new. That's all we know. I mean, there could be water down below. Oftentimes there's a moat around a castle, so maybe there's water down below. They know it's deep enough, so they're just going to jump off and they're going to be fine, right? But this is about transformation. It's about transforming that ego within, or maybe the projective versus receptive balance within, and then having that be part of your manifestation, which then brings us to the 8 of strength. Here's the 8th card of the major arcana. We don't have to reduce that any further. 8 is about leadership. It's about inner strength. Or outer strength. It's about material recognition and approval. It's a higher level of harmony, if you will. There's a collectiveness to that, especially if you're in a leadership role with others. You're influencing other people. You're requiring things of other people. But here, you're taming the wild within. So again, we see the lemniscate just like we do here, above the goddess's head. You see flowers adorning her. Well, it's almost like it's a garland that she's tied around her waist and it's hanging down. You see the earth element here. You see the fire element with both the sun and the lion being its orange color. But the idea is, with strength, you're taming the it's about trust, it's about goddess power, it's about courage, it's about unconditional love. But it's trusting in the process, trusting the moment, trusting that love is there. And to bring all of that into balance, right? So that after the lid's blown off of things and awareness comes, no matter how uncomfortable it might be, as I talked about here for today's daily forecast. Now, this, of course, has to do with some money issues and maybe some emotional spending that's going on that maybe you need to look at. Too much is going on, and so you got to look at it because you got to be able to pay the bills or plan for the future or what have you. You know, so you can't let go of those resources yet, right? So, in order to manifest a new way on this first day or this, not first day, but this one energy of today's, and again, you know, if you just put it down to 10 instead of 1, reduce it to 10, you're talking about endings and beginnings. And so again, this card really talks about that. And given that everything, I mean, it kind of looks like the scales, doesn't it? And because it's the 7 reminds me of the scales, where you bring everything to rest and you really take a really hard look at what's really going on without, you know, divesting yourself of the emotion of it all. It's really an air type of a number, where you're letting reason come into play and you're leaving the emotion out of it, and just letting the scales come to their balance, right? So that you can then gather the inner strength within to make the changes that you need to make. So whether this applies to, you know, what today's daily forecast is talking about or it doesn't, maybe there's just some interchange that needs to take place, having to do with the legacy we leave behind, the tradition, the loyalty, the foundation of, and how we express the light of spirit, both inward, how we let that affect us, affect our mind, our personality, all of that, our perceptions, and then how do we express that same light of spirit outward to others. So maybe if you've been having trouble doing that of late, then maybe today, over the next few days until Thursday, we take a look at, you know, how that feels, and are you ready to maybe rethink things? Are you ready to make a change that allows you then to manifest in a more balanced way? When you see the all four tools here, he has all four suits of the tarot basically, but they're also in magic. These are tools. These are tools that magicians and witches use to align those kind of elemental energies, to bring them. If something needs a little more structure and you're doing a working to give yourself a better focus or being a little more grounded, then you would put stones, crystals, and maybe an altar tile that's a pentacle or a pentagram on the altar that would increase those kinds of energies. So obsidian or black tourmaline, smoky quartz, anything like that that would help bring grounding energies into the working. So it's the same thing. You think about, am I grounded? Am I compassionate with the cup here with water? Am I direct? Am I fair? Do I act with reason? And then how do I manifest with the wand? That's the fire element. How do I manifest those energies into my life in a way that lets go of things that no longer serve, and allows me to tame the wild within and to come into a better balance, and to understand that that's just part of the cyclical nature of life. You're going to have to always check in with yourself periodically to see, am I too far one way or too far the other way, or am I living in some kind of balance that helps me then to bring the light of spirit into my awareness and then express that outward as part of the legacy I leave behind with Othala. And in the process, what do I gain? Well, you can think of a lot of things you can gain. Your relationships become stronger. You are more compassionate about people. You're less judgmental. All of those things. So it just seems to me, as we approach the end of this year, this 22 year, with profound change on our minds, are you coming from a place of love? Are you living in love and unity, or are you living in, what is it called, fear and doubt? Are you expressing yourself in a way that's loving to others, or are you expressing hate in your life? Are you given to the isms of life, or do you reject that out of hand and understand that we're all one, and that's all we really need to focus on? We're all one. We're all part of the same creator. We are, if you want to think that we're each a thought of the creator, you can do that. If the creator is all that is, then everything here is the creator. It's the thought process of the creator. It's that projection outward into something called consciousness, into something called tangible form. Well, if that's true, and I believe that it is, but if you believe that it is, then realistically, that's where we live. We have to live there. And it's a struggle every day, isn't it, to live there? For some people it isn't, and it's like, wow, how do they do that, But I'm reminded of the Dalai Lama in that regard. We were very, very lucky back in 2013. He came to Eugene, and we got tickets. My husband and I did, and we went to see him, and it was just, everybody was there, and the Buddhists were there in their finery, and their and it was just the most amazing thing to see people of all, I'm sure all religious persuasions were there. This was just a time where everybody came together and were focused on this incredible man, and who had so much to say. And he did it so eloquently, and so you wonder, how do I get there? How do I become, get into that spiritual mindset? Otherwise, we have so many distractions. that we have to deal with on a daily basis, and it affects our ability to stay present in the moment. It affects our ability to extend ourselves in love and unity to other people. It affects everything, and it's like this pull, constant pull, and what we can do over the next few days, while we're still in this 11 month, in this 22 year, and tomorrow, with being 11 and 11 and 22, figure out how awakening comes to you. How does this happen for you? Are you open to changing your awareness, to changing your perceptions, to changing your mind about how you see things, and see things in a more collective aspect, a more Othala type of existence, so that the legacy you do leave behind for others, and that can just be, who you walk by in a grocery store. It doesn't have to be after you've died and you've left this for your family. It doesn't necessarily mean that, because this is creation. That's what this is. It's the expression of the Creator into form when it's all come together in the collective consciousness. That's why some people believe that the Akashic Record is part of Othala. It's that collective awareness that we all share, and we know is of the Creator instead of something else. And we can all decide what that something else is, but it's a choice we make. It's to where we place our focus. And Othala is just saying that it needs to be on the collective consciousness. It needs to be on the unity that we all share with one another, and to transform our perceptions and transform our lives and transform our inner strength to express ourselves in love, even if it's with somebody that maybe we have issues with, maybe particularly the people we have issues with, to still express that love and that joy and that fellowship and that Othala within and without. So anyway, I love when it's all major cards, because those are soul archetype cards, and it just really helps you to understand, I think, when you're doing a reading like this. It reminds us of that higher awareness that can govern our lives, instead of devolving into other stuff that's really, at the end of the day, isn't necessary. So anyway, that's all I have. Thanks for watching, and come back again on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.